Did you know that St. Luke's University Health Network, based in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, has been recognized by the U.S. government as the highest performing health system in the United States for quality? You heard right. St. Luke's #1 recognition affirms our status as the top leader among the most respected healthcare providers in the nation, including Houston Methodist and the Mayo Clinic. To state it simply, if you want to receive the best care when you go to a hospital, come to St. Luke's.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Greg Kelly Show.
We're gonna bust go round and round all through the town.
Having fun, fellas? President Obama and Zoran Mamdani screwing around in a nursery school class. Oh, look at us, aren't we cool? The kids have no idea who they are, singing the song. And people are falling through manhole covers. That poor woman, what happened to her as our government dicks around doing silly, stupid stuff that has nothing to do with the lives of the people who live here. It really is amazing. A pivotal moment when we learn now that the woman was basically died of heat. She was fried down there with the steam. You ever see the mysterious smoke coming out of the sewer? It's down there, and it killed her. It killed her. Opens her car door. There's no ground there. And that's a failure of the city. Absolutely. All right. I got to go to the Washington because President Trump is in the Oval Office right now, and you never know what can happen down there when he speaks. Let's go ahead if you don't mind.
You'll have 25% of the people coming into our country coming in through birthright citizenship, and we won't have any control. This decision by the Supreme Court is a very big one. They'll probably rule against me because they seem to like doing that. Frankly, I'm not happy with some of the decisions. Look at NIL. Look what they've done. Look what the courts have done to college sports. They're destroying college sports. They're destroying universities. But birthright citizens are a big deal. And literally, if that's allowed to stand, and again, this was a civil war. This was right after the Civil War. And it has to do with the babies of slaves. It doesn't have to do with the babies of very rich people coming into the country. One of them came in with 57 children. Okay, 57 children. They're using the system, and it's usually people that hate our country, if you want to know the truth. Birthright citizen is done by no other country in the world the way we're doing it. We're a laughing stock. And if the Supreme Court approves that decision, they have done a great disservice to the United States of America, just like they did a great disservice by costing us $149 billion on tariffs by saying do it a different way. Get the same result, do it a different way. We should have won that decision. We had a very strong, very powerful dissent. We had 3 dissents. So it wasn't like a unanimous decision by any means. We had very powerful dissents. When you read that dissent, people that read that dissent say, you really should have won this case. We should have won that case on tariffs. That case cost our country $149 million. It goes to people that hate our country. So now we have another one coming up, birthright citizenship. It would be a disgrace. It would be a disgrace if the Supreme Court of the United States allows that to happen. Remember what I said, 20 to 25% of the people coming into our country will come in through birthright citizenship. They'll become citizens through birthright citizenship, and it'll cost us numbers that are, I don't even think they're doable. And it's all up to a couple of people, and I hope they do what's right. Birthright citizenship is a disgrace. The fact that, look at the people that are bringing the suit. Study the people that are bringing the suit. These are not people that love our country, I can tell you that.
Mr. President, why has today's executive order on AI been postponed?
Because I didn't like certain aspects of it. I postponed it. I think it gets in the way of, we're leading China, we're leading everybody, and I don't want to do anything that's going to get in the way of that lead. We have a very substantial on AI. It's causing tremendous good, and it's also bringing in a lot of jobs, tremendous numbers of jobs. Again, we have more people working right now than we've ever had. I really thought that could have been a blocker, and I want to make sure that it's not.
Mr. President,
With President Xi last week, did you discuss AI safeguards?
Who, what?
In China last week with President Xi,
Yes.
did you discuss AI
I did.
safeguards?
I discussed it. And he acknowledges how well we're doing. We're doing well. He's doing. It's the two of us. The two countries are fighting for it. Other countries are way behind, way behind. They're fighting for it. They want it. Everybody wants it, but they're way behind. But I didn't want to do it. I postponed that meeting. It was a press conference. It was a signing, actually, because I didn't like what I was seeing.
Mr. President, a few moments ago, the Commission of Fine Arts approved your design, the design for your arch. Do you think you need congressional approval for it?
I finally get good news from them.
Do you think you need
What was the
congressional
vote? Do you know what the
approval for it,
vote
sir?
was? What was the vote?
I'm just seeing the headline here. I don't have the exact vote. But
So we're building what's called the Triumphal Arch, right opposite the Arlington Memorial Bridge, right by Arlington Cemetery. It's beautiful. It's the Arc de Triomphe would be the one that you would probably know in Paris. It's one of the most beautiful. It's a very similar size, slightly larger. We have to do slightly larger. It doesn't have to be a lot larger. Otherwise, you'd all be disappointed in me. But it's even far more beautiful. And I think that the Arc de Triomphe is beautiful. It's a couple of 100 years old, but I think it's beautiful. And some arcs go back over 1,000 years. And it's called a triumphal arc. It's usually done for victories in war and things. There are 59 of them in the world. And some are really beautiful. And we're the only major, Washington, D.C., which should be number one. We're the only important and major city that doesn't have one. We don't have a triumphal arch. So it was meant to be built for many years. The circle going up to the bridge, it was, people pass that circle, they say, why isn't something built here? And so that's very good. We just got approval from Fine Arts. That's fantastic.
Right, but you need Congress to sign off on it.
No, we don't. No, we're doing it. It's the land is owned by the Interior Department. We don't need anything from Congress.
Are you attending your son's
President,
wedding?
back
Are
on
you
that.
attending your son's wedding this weekend, by the way?
He'd like me to go, but it's going to be just a small little private affair, and I'm going to try and make it. I'm in the midst. I said, this is not good timing for me. I have a thing called Iran and other things. That's one I can't win on. If I do attend, I get killed. If I don't attend, I get killed. By the fake news, of course, I'm talking about. No, but he's got a very person who I've known for a long time, and hopefully they're going to have a great marriage.
Mr. President, actually, to add to the art, I just actually passed by it on my way here,
Right.
saw that the pink flags, and
Right.
there's just geese that are there all the time.
Right.
So that's perfect. How long will that take? And also, I have to say, I have to pass along something for my mother, because she drove in with me. She was amazed by all the people she was seeing on the streets here in DC. She doesn't get in here as much.
DC is hot again.
She was noticing how clean and beautiful it was,
Clean.
so I'm passing it along.
That's right. Well, that's the way I do. Clean. Take a look outside. We had broken path. It was so terrible coming into the White House. It was slate. Slate's a roofing material. It's not a walking material. But the slate was all broken and chipped and terrible. And I put down a new granite floor and paid for it myself, by the way. But I put down a nice new granite floor. It looks beautiful. It's actually getting rave reviews. It's beautiful. It's a terrible having people walking up to the White House and they're walking over broken tiles and broken floors. So now we just finished. It's going to be finished when the moldings are put on. But you might take a look at it. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's beautiful.
It's very beautiful.
Of other things we're doing while you're at it, we've fixed, we have 31 fountains in Washington. Of the 31, not one worked. Now we have 21 working, and the others are going to be fixed. And people are calling and saying, it's amazing what's happened, the fountains, and they're working top level. And my most exciting is the reflecting pool between the Washington Monument and the Washington Monument, Lincoln Memorial. It's 2,500 feet long by almost 200 feet wide. It's a massive structure, if you think of it. It's taller than the tallest building in the world. If you sat the building down, the tallest building in the world would not reach the end of it. It's a very big thing. It hasn't worked properly since it was built in 1922. President Obama and Biden spent hundreds of millions of dollars trying to fix it. They didn't. Of course, they couldn't do that. They didn't fix it. It was a mess. So mostly they turned it off, collecting garbage. It looked horrible. And we are very close to getting it finished. And when it's finished, it'll be beautiful. It'll be blue water, dark blue. We call it American flag blue because that's the name of the color that we chose. American flag blue. Can't do better than that. It's a rich, dark blue, and it'll be, I think, very reflective, very, very good. Big project. I decided to do a much bigger job. I was going to just get it open, but I said, let's do it right. Let's get it open, and let's have it be good, because President Obama, President Biden spent hundreds of millions of dollars, much more than 100 million, but hundreds of millions. It never worked. In fact, when they finished it, it was much worse than it was before. It leaked at a higher level. They would have to fill it up every single day with water. The whole thing was ridiculous, so they ended up turning it off, and it became like a garbage dump. Well, it's pretty close to finished. So they had estimates of $350 million to fix it. I'll be doing it for a tiny fraction of that. A bigger job than I originally thought I'd do it for $2 or $3 million, just do a base. But now we're fixing up the exterior of it. So we'll probably be in there for less than $20 million. And the estimate was going to be using a different method, 350. It was going to take 4 years, 350 million. I'll be doing it in basically a couple of months for less than $20 million. That includes all of the exterior base, which I never included in my original numbers. When I went there last week, I saw the exterior was in very bad shape, as well as the interior, so I said, we're going to fix that too. The stone. It's going to be beautiful. When that's done, you might see it. It's probably 3/4 done. We have rain delays. We get a lot of delays, but that will be something special. The reflecting pool in front of the Lincoln and Washington monuments. I think it's going to be incredible. It's largely done. If you want to go see it, you can see it before we put the water in. The key is to have it done before July 4th. We want to see if we can have it done before July 4th. But we have about 20 or 21 of the water features in Washington open. And I can say, we top of the line. They look better than they did the day they were built. Some of them have been closed for 25, 30 years. There's been no water for 25 or 30 years. And they're really beautiful. Some of the fountains are as beautiful as I've ever seen. And you probably see them. And in addition to that, you brought up something. Washington, D.C. is now a safe city. We had a city that was one of the most unsafe cities anywhere in the country. And now it's considered a very safe city. Restaurants are opening. Restaurants were closing. You couldn't go to a restaurant. The restaurants were closing all over because of the danger from during the Biden administration. Now you have restaurants opening. It's thriving, and it was very nice that you said that. I like this reporter. I have to, no, it's nice. We have a vibrant city again. People are going out. I have a lot of people in the White House. Every time I see somebody, they thank me, and I know immediately what. They thank me for making the city safe. They walk to work now. Before that, they'd take Uber or something, and they felt unsafe even in Uber. You know, we moved over 5,000 people out of the city, career criminals that came in through the open borders and other reasons, and we moved over 5,000. And an interesting statistic is that 2% of the population creates 91% of the crime. And the reason I like that is that you can handle 2% of the population. Mr. Kroger, I see you have stores in Washington? You see a big difference?
We do.
Well, you said the right thing. Could you imagine? That would have been the end of Kroger. Okay, we'll do one or two more. Please.
Do you think Democrats are genuine in their focus on affordability, especially after they delivered 40-year high inflation last time they were in power? And then, or do you think they're using it or focusing on it as a means to try and win midterms and begin the impeachment process?
Look, the Democrats had the highest inflation in the history of our country. 48 years, they say, but the history of our country. They had the highest inflation that we've ever had. when I inherited it, I inherited very high prices. And from day one, they said, affordability. Affordability is a word, because they're good at that. They're good at words, but I'm good at words too. But they hit me with affordability. I'd just gotten there. They hit me with eggs. We had a news conference on my third day, and they said, egg prices are through the roof. I said, I just got here. Tell me about eggs. And we got the prices down, way down, actually lower than it was 4 years before. But we've gotten everything. The thing that we have now, the only thing that's really of great concern, two things. Beef is coming down, and the reason is they put restrictions on beef under the Biden administration, and it takes a while to settle that, but prices are down. But the big thing is, of course, energy. We had the energy way down, but I had to do a journey to Iran. I had to say, we just hit the best markets. By the way, the stock market today is at the highest it's ever been, and we've had 59 of them, 59 days out of a very short period of time where the stock market hit all-time highs. So we have an all-time high stock market. We have all-time high job numbers. We have 401ks just hit the highest number they've ever been. So many of you have 401ks. That means you're richer than you've ever been. And we're doing really well. But they came up with this word, affordability. But it's them that caused the problem. And they use that word, Senator, they use that word right from the beginning. I was in one day, and I heard somebody on television say, affordability. And I inherited this mess.
He's right about the affordability word. All right? It came out of nowhere. We used to talk about inflation, and then they realized the inflation thing wasn't working for them. Then they switched to affordability. It was a scam. But anyway, I like listening to these things. You get little insights into what it's like to be the president. And who knew that about Slate? Huh? Slate is good for roofing, but crummy for your patio. I don't care what you say. That's genuine expertise. When you're writing checks, right, for billions of dollars for public works projects and the rest, it's nice to have the guy at the top to know what the hell is going on. Hey, when we'll be back in a minute. The legendary New York artist and American patriot Scott LoBaido joins us. You saw that, a magnificent thing he put in front of City Hall with a special message for Zoran Mamdani. Absolutely incredible. Scott LoBaido when we return.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
11-month-old girl shot in the face because of woke, criminal-loving district attorneys.
Come on, murderer. This is a street performance. Seems like all the artist activists are on the left. Except for Scott LoBaido. I do not conform to the elitist isms of the art clubs, and they have left me like a redheaded stepchild. This is my medium in which I shall create, and this is my canvas, the front of the Brooklyn Museum.
The first most important thing in school or anywhere else is the Pledge of Allegiance.
This is not a pro-war protest. This has to do with the increasing level of anti-Americanism.
They don't keep the criminals in jail. They're not going to keep you in jail.
This line is to show respect and honor to those who died, got shot in the fucking head, protecting us. You try to take that fucking blue line down. I'll paint it till the day I die.
When the towers came down, there was absolutely no doubt that feeling, it was going to change my life. And it did.
When somebody's complaining, it's so cold out, the traffic. And here I am, drinking with one of these guys who's got one arm, he's got a hook for another arm, and he's drinking a fucking beer, having a laugh with me, and he's not bitching about nothing.
I present to you the recipient of this year's VFW Americanism Award, Mr. Scott LoBaido.
Damn!
That's it. I'm going to paint a flag on a rooftop in every state near a military base.
There's a veteran.
This guy is the real deal. The relentless patriot artist Scott LoBaido. That film, I forgot, it'll knock your socks off. And so will Scott LoBaido, gifted artist, total patriot. Scott, welcome back. Long time. How are you?
All right, buddy. How you doing, my friend? Thanks for that intro there.
Well, it is. It's totally moving, dude. You really are unique. I never realized. It said right there. Every artist is to the left. Almost every artist is to the left. You are not. How did you become you? How does that happen? Why are you so independent? It's great. How did that happen?
I just, it's pretty simple. I'm just a knuckle dragging, primitive, heterosexual maniac from Staten Island, New York, and I'm an artist. And back in the '90s, I went to go find myself in Manhattan. That's where it is at. You gotta, you gotta find the art where your niche is in Manhattan. I went to go check it out, and I saw. This is back in the early '90s. I saw such a hatred for our American flag, our American values, our military, our veterans. It was just 91. We just had the Gulf War, and there was a lot of these young folks that were giving these soldiers coming back a hard time like they did in Vietnam, and I experienced that with some of my uncles, and I said, no effing way. So I just, there was one gallery that you had American flag on the floor of the gallery and the entrance where you would have to wipe your feet in order to enter this gallery, a gallery that was housing artists who get to express themselves more than anybody in this country. The artist gets to exercise that right. And there they are, wiping their feet on the very flag with the blood and those red stripes of the men and women who sacrificed for their freedom to be an artist. And I said, no effing way. I don't want any part of this. I don't care if they're going to make me a star or not. I don't want any part. I'm going my own way. I'm going to bring this flag, patriotism, back to life through an unusual suspect, art.
It's amazing. And by the way, that's true art. You're a nonconformist, and some of these so-called artists are conformists. Now, you did something amazing the other day at City Hall, and your art is also social media. The buildup. Here you are on the way there, and you make one of your everything you do basically goes viral. And the suspense, it's all there. Let's see, just a little teaser that you put out online, and it got hundreds of thousands of people talking. Go ahead.
Hey, kids. Hey, I know I say this all the time, but I really mean it this time. I'm on my way to unveil my latest, greatest of all time masterpieces. Tune in about 12 o'clock. Don't want to miss this one.
And you weren't kidding. And we'll talk about that, what you put up there in a second. But I do want to talk about the social media. You got this way. You got this delivery. You got this, I don't know what the hell it is. A little bit of Frank Sinatra, a little bit of Jerky Boys, a lot of the truth. Your social media is really exceptional. I mean, congratulations on that. Is this just a gift, or is this something you've worked on for a long time?
Dude. I'm from Staten Island. It's Jerky Boys / Frank Sinatra / rah-rah, I love America, and / I love my civil servants. It's all cops, firemen, sanitation workers. That's my family. So it's all that combined. It's all real. There's no fake. We've met, we've had a conversation, and we both were like, all right, this is, you're the same way. You're real. Not everybody's going to accept you. Not everybody's going to like what you do. I tell everybody on my social media, I'm not here to collect followers. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make the truth, and I do it through my art, which is mostly my hands, but sometimes my words.
Well,
it's not intellectual. I don't claim to be. I'm not a great artist. There are thousands of artists in this city that are 1,000 times better than I'll ever be, execution-wise. But I consider myself a good artist because I don't care. It's not my brushstrokes. It's not the execution of my brushstrokes or how great it is. It's the subject matter. It is the portrayal of what I feel from not only Americans, but the folks in my city. Hence the sculpture that I knew would be a big hit.
Well, the sculpture's magnificent. I'm going to take a little issue with you there. Look, you're right. I didn't go to art school, but technically and artistically, this stuff is magnificent. Whether it's the Verrazano Bridge, which the detail and the everything about it, the sunlight, yet the engineering of it, you can paint, you can sculpt, you can do other stuff. It's hot. It's the highest art I know. It's great. And I see Pablo Picasso. I had no idea what he's doing. Tell us about the middle finger you gave to Zoran Mamdani. Was that copper? Just tell us all about the exhibit and the reaction so far.
Well, again, a few weeks back, about a month or so back, I unveiled my official portrait of Mayor Mamdani at City Hall, as I did with several other mayors. And it was pretty awesome. I'm sure you saw it. And it was a big hit. Again, it's a social media thing. And again, I used to be in the media a lot. I used to be on that Fair and Balanced network all the time. Back in the day, I was like a regular. And now I'm just too uncontrollable and too truthful that they don't even know I exist. But anyway, so my media is now social media. It's this phone that we have. And, that's it. I do my thing, and people follow me. So it's a capture, again, like I said earlier, the artists, the successful artists. Well, there's several different kinds of artists. I mean, you have artists that do beautiful portraits of sunsets and that are calming and soothing. But then there are artists who provoke emotion using the feelings of the community. And it is about time that this community, especially those who voted for this clown, that they are now having second thoughts. So everybody is pretty much giving this guy, wants to say that. Vaffanculo, it's an Italian phrase for obvious what the middle finger represents. And that's also from us Italians, because we know that Mr. Mamdani gave the middle finger to all us Italians and the Columbus sculpture, if you remember, a short while ago. So it's an FU from us Italians, an FU from the Jewish community. It's an FU from all of these people who realize that they screwed up by voting him. And then it's also a big FU from the greatest police department in the world, the NYPD. If you notice on the thing, there's a little number. It says 110 on the sculpture. Very subtle. A couple of people caught it, but it represents the badge number of Officer Jonathan Diller, who was slain in the line of duty by a repeat offender. I know it's not the perfect place to put a memorial, but it's there to, just show that this mayor, the last mayor, the mayor before, the governor before, the current governor, the DA, Letitia James, and so on and so on, they're responsible for the murder and the mayhem in the city. I don't want to go off too much, but I want to tie back into the whole police thing. Look at Captain Wilson. They're going to sing songs around campfires about that legend. That guy is a legend because he said a couple of words, a couple of opinionated words, nothing vulgar, nothing threatening, and they tore him down. They wanted to hang him, and that guy's my hero. And the NYPD is like, again, their hands are tied. If I could reach out to Tish, I mean, I think I know that she is doing this because she really wants to change the city. I really do. She doesn't need the money. We know that, right? She comes from a very wealthy family. But Kelly, let me ask you this. Do you think that Mamdani's going to fire her soon?
Well, I think she should quit. I don't know about you and I may differ on her. I feel like she is out for herself. I think she's already sold out the cops, and she wants to be something important. She wants to be, she likes being the police commissioner, big shot, and she wants to be governor, and she wants to be senator, and she's eye on that prize, not eye on us. That's how I feel, but I understand others feel differently.
Okay. No, but that's good. That's good what you said. She's for her. She wants to make a legacy, correct? You agree with me on that?
Yeah, but I mean, the legacy,
right.
There's certain things she shouldn't be standing for. Like, okay, she wants to make a legacy, therefore she's going to do right by the cops. No, we haven't seen that yet. She lets those cops get hit by snowballs, and Mamdani laughs it off. She, the other thing, she lets Brooklyn be overtaken by anti-Semites raging in the streets. She doesn't put out the cops with the bats and the hats, the riot gear, to put it down. She sent out a bunch of community advisors. She's not doing the job, in part because she doesn't know how to, in part because she's afraid to.
Well, this is her opportunity, and I put a video out, like calling her out, saying, here's your opportunity, Tish, to go down in history. You will be remembered for life, forever. You will be remembered as the one commissioner who said, you know what? I mean, obviously, your father was a legend, and Kerrick and so on, but she could say, take these masks off of these criminals, and anybody that touches anybody else or destroys anybody's property, spend a weekend in central booking. and that will, she's got to go down gun blazing, take the handcuffs off, let the hounds loose, because you know as well as I do, these cops want to do their job. And, she's being controlled by him. She's not.
Well, then you got to ask, you got to reach down and say, well, what kind of person am I? How much do I want this job? And the job is a great job on some levels. You know what I mean? You're a very important person. But all that stuff was secondary to my dad. He knew how to do the job. She doesn't know how to do the job. And I don't think she has.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So look,
I guess it's Wilson, it's the hopeless romantic in me. Like, she would be that, they would build statues of her. She can do it. If she's going to get fired or she's going to quit, just go down, go do it. Did the simplest thing. Look what Bruce did in his town. He took the masks off for these criminals. You take the masks off, you know the deal. The balls come off, or the balls that they think they have, and it's that simple. And half of them won't show up, and the other half that do will show up peacefully.
Well, we got woke DAs, we got all kinds of people. We got the city council. So in a weird way, it's not solely up to her. So we'll see. It's a fascinating. It's really a wild moment. Hey, can I just ask you about this sculpture? To me, it's about the size of it. I'm trying to explain. Not everybody can see, but you probably saw it on the news. If you took a jet ski and stood it up vertically, it's about that size. It looks like the fist of the Statue of Liberty. It's the same color. And the middle finger flying high. Is this, how did you do? Is it, number one, is this copper? It looks like oxidized copper, but it can't be. Or maybe it is. How did you do this thing?
This is part of being an artist. You create something to look like something else in a time frame with a budget. So I built it out of foam. It's all out of foam, hand carved out of foam, and then it's plastered with some basic, art supply plaster. And then on top of that is a bronze copper paint. Has copper in it, and then there's an oxidizing element that you spray on while you're working with it, while it's wet, and it turns and it looks like solid brass. It's an amazing thing. And the pedestal that looks like concrete, it's made out of Home Depot foam, sprayed, and then sprayed again with a stone spray that looks like concrete. So it weighs about 30 pounds tops.
Wow. It looks like it's a ton. Seriously.
That's what everybody, all the stories. I mean, this went viral more than any of my work previously. It's still going viral because of the, it looks real. It is real. I mean, it's still a work of art. It's not going anywhere. I have it at my studio, but that's the cement and the bronze, and like, wow, that's powerful. It's that, like you said, it's that Statue of Liberty-esque element to it. And it was just, I knew it would go viral because I know, like I said earlier, so many people are now fed up so quickly with this guy. And I'm really happy to see these sons and daughters of capitalism who put him in office, those folks in Williamsburg, in Bushwick, New York, Brooklyn, who are so spoiled. They don't understand the pain compliant that they need to feel, and they are feeling it. And as I've been saying, if you pay attention, let it burn. It needs to burn, because if the forest completely burns down, it rejuvenates itself back to its original self eventually. And that's where we're at. So,
wow. ScottLobaito.com. Check it out. LOBAIDO.com. ScottLobaito.com. Amazing works of art actually available there for sale. And see him on social media. He is a true artist, and he's paid a big price along the way for being a true artist. The opposite of a sellout. Amazing, Scott. Thanks for coming on, okay?
Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Anytime, buddy.
You bet. To be continued. The guy is the real deal. The guy is the real deal. It's pretty amazing. All right. We'll be right back.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I had to take out politically a guy named Seth Moulton. Who the hell is that? Who cares? Well, he was getting to be a bit of a problem, and there's nothing we could do about it. All right, he's gone. He's gone. You know what I mean? He's gone. And no one's upset about it. Look, politically, okay? We want this guy to be safe and sound and all tucked in with his family and have a nice life, but out of public life. Seth Moulton is a congressman from Massachusetts, a Democrat. And this was the moment. He was sitting at home when he was like 11 years old, watching a documentary, and long-haired hippie John Kerry shows up, right? John Kerry, how did he make a name for himself? By turning his back on America, right? By turning his back on American troops at war during a time of war. John Kerry. John Kerry. Anybody remember? Oh, he was like the opposite of Oliver North, right? Anti-American, wearing a fake uniform and looking dumpy in it, by the way. The guy's like 150 pounds, 6'6", and he looked dumpy. John Kerry, April 1971, cut 6.
Someone has to die so that President Nixon won't be, and these are his words, the first president to lose a war. And we are asking Americans to think about that. Because how do you ask a man to be the last man to die in Vietnam? How do you ask a man to be the last man to die for a mistake?
How do you ask a man to do that? I'm John Forbes Kerry. I shall serve in the war. My mother has given me permission. And I shall return from the war ardently as opposed to the war. And people will be unable to criticize, for I have worn the uniform of the country. Don't you see, man? It is perfect. And I shall be catapulted to the upper rungs of political life in America.
And he was. Cut 6, please. Cut 6. 2004 Democrat National Convention nominating this pompous jerk to be the Democrat nominee for president. Cut 6. Cut 7.
I'm John Kerry, and I'm reporting for duty.
Remember that crooked salute? Ugh. So goofy. So terrible. And it ultimately blew up on himself. He was too cute. As Ed Koch would say, he was too cute by half. And it doesn't work that way. You can't join the war, pretend to fight in the war, come back, oppose the war, right? But that was the plan even before you went to war. And there's a guy who did the same, a lot of guys who did the same exact thing in different ways. Two of them are Pete Buttigieg and Seth Moulton. The number one reason why Seth Moulton, nobody knows how to say his name, Moulton. If he were smart, he would have changed it a long time ago. He would have said Molten, molten, like molten lava. Wow, that's a kick-ass kind of guy. Seth Moulton, like the ice cream drink, Malton. Huh. Well, here he is the other day trying to embarrass Admiral Cooper, but he only embarrasses himself. Admiral Cooper is the CENTCOM commander, right? U.S. Central Command for the Southern Command. U.S. was it Central or Southern? U.S. Central Command. And that's the guys who are in charge of the Middle East. Cut 8, if you don't mind. Cut 8.
What's the plan now to actually win this war? Because it feels like we're losing. We don't have a nuclear deal. We don't have the Strait open. The president has called for unconditional surrender. Is that part of the plan?
Congressman, we achieved all our military objectives. We're presently in a ceasefire. We're executing a blockade, and we're prepared for a broad range of contingencies.
Well, it doesn't seem to be going well. And I would like to know how many more Americans we have to ask to die for this mistake. Do you know?
How many Americans, right? That's the John Kerry thing. That's the John Kerry. How many people have to die for this mistake? That's John Kerry. Now, why I really despise this guy, all right? You know, I was in the military myself, 9 years active duty, about a dozen in the reserves. And the news never came to do a story on me when I was going off to war. All right? I was going off the Middle East to fly in Operation Southern Watch. The news didn't care. But for some reason, they cared about this guy. Captain Nobody. Martha Raddatz, a national security correspondent for ABC News, somehow finds out about this guy and watches him pack his bags as he goes off to war. Cut 9, please. Cut 9.
I first met Seth Moulton in 2007 at his parents' home in Marblehead, Massachusetts, as the Harvard graduate was headed back to Iraq for his 4th combat tour.
I think a lot of people look at me and say, you know, why do you want to go back now? Why would you want to be a part of the war when it's going so poorly? But I think this is the most important time for people to serve.
Oh, wow. What a hero. Wrong. He was working the system. He was getting his ticket punched. And look, yeah, there were people who obviously, look, it was dangerous to be in Iraq. But you could also play it in such a way that you were going to be fine. You'd volunteer for these orders. You'd volunteer. And then you could say you were ordered to go. All kinds of games. You know, I went there plenty of times myself. You know, there were people in Iraq who it was their job to hand out basketballs. Literally, you hand out basketballs. There are people whose job it was to make ice cream sundaes. I did a little story on the pastry chefs in Fallujah who worked for Halliburton, right? It was, it wasn't exactly Saving Private Ryan over there, okay? Now, it had its intensities, and you never knew when a bomb was going to go off or a missile was going to come in. But it wasn't like what Seth Moulton wants you to think. Now, so he's like, I got to go over there. I got to go over there. And I made a note of it when I saw that guy on the news in 2007. I said, who the hell is this guy? Why the hell is he on the news? And the Harvard thing kind of told me, oh, okay, he wants to be a congressman someday. And sure enough, a couple of years after that, it's like 2010 or so. And I think Rosanna Scotto and I went to a Peggy Siegel movie. And they're showing a movie called No End in Sight. And it's this big documentary about how rotten the war is in Iraq. Okay? Which it was, but you heard what he said. Oh, I gotta go. Now here he is, bad-mouthing the war, along with everybody else. Cut 10, please. The documentary is No End in Sight, featuring Seth Moulton.
There was absolute lawlessness.
We're in a transition period.
Stuff happens.
The Iraqi army was essentially standing there, waiting.
The Iraqi army has been disbanded, and I was floored.
You had huge ammunition dumps that weren't guarded. I'm standing there watching these insurgents pull out rockets and mortars and bombs, and the U.S. say to you, we just don't have enough people to cover it.
That was him.
We never had a single armored Humvee while we were in Iraq.
Why don't
That's
we have
him
those
again.
resources? You go to war with the army you have.
We don't have enough troops.
There, he was in that clip twice, bitching about the war. And then he comes back and he says something else, and I got it on tape. You might as well quit now, pal. You might as well quit now. Seth Moulton. More when I come back.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?